Well, Ambassador Richard Schmierer is a former US diplomat and the President Emeritus of the Middle East Policy Council, and he joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Good to have you on the programme. So your sort of initial thoughts then on this board of peace. They've got a big kitty, $17 billion of pledges. Do you feel as if this board of peace can reconstruct and rehabilitate Gaza? But, you know, really the question is, in whose image?
Well, certainly the potential is there for the Board of Peace to play a very positive role, bringing together all of those who are committed to trying to ensure there is no more war and that Gaza can be rebuilt and that humanitarian and other assistance be given to the Gazan people. As we all know, there are still many questions about how the various pieces envisioned by the Board of Peace will come together. Now, there are some positive statements, some positive developments. For example, the fact that it appears there is now $17 billion committed by members of the Board of Peace towards the reconstruction of Gaza. And there does seem to be some progress towards the idea of standing up an international stabilization force. But that still leaves a number of questions concerning the disarming of Hamas, the withdrawal of Israel, and in fact, the concern with the ongoing violence that continues even after the ceasefire. So I would say those of us who are looking at this are encouraged by some of the positive steps, but there are still many questions to be answered.
They are indeed. But when do you think practically, I mean, as we're saying, $17 billion of pledges, when do you think practical measures to commit to this rehabilitation, the reconstruction of Gaza? When could we start seeing some of these steps actually happening?
Well, I think one of the first steps will be the successful bringing together of the International Stabilization Force. And we've seen today some positive developments in terms of Palestinians apparently willing to participate in that force. And we've also seen other countries, such as Indonesia, express a willingness. So I think first, if we can finally get the ceasefire to hold and end the violence, if we can get the Hamas faction to agree to some kind of disarmament, it probably won't be complete, but it should at least be able to give up their heavy weapons, and a further pullback of Israel, and we can get the International Stabilization Force trained and in place, I think that will be the first major step towards bringing relief to the people of Gaza and ultimately towards the effort to reconstruct Gaza.
Indeed, and security is a massive issue. You know, there are lots of hopes and ambitions when it comes to the Board of Peace and what they can do. Ambassador, stay with us. We're going to come back to you. So, as well as Gaza, President Trump also turned his attention to Iran, saying a deal needed to be made to avoid US strikes. Take a listen to this.
Iran is a hot spot right now, and they're meeting, and they have a good relationship with the representatives of Iran, and, you know, good talks are being had. It's proven to be, over the years, not easy to make a meaningful deal with Iran. We have to make a meaningful deal. Otherwise, bad things happen. Now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
OK, let's bring in Ambassador Richard Schmierer back to the discussion. So you were listening there to what Donald Trump said, you know, at the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace. But he obviously spoke about Iran, another potential big issue geopolitically. Do you feel as if this was slightly, you could say, an ironic statement? So we've got this Board of Peace meeting, but does it surprise you what Donald Trump was talking about, given that the situation with Iran is quite hot right now?
Well, I think those of us who have been observing President Trump for some time realizes that he tends to like to have ambiguity concerning what he might do in the next steps. And so he has indicated that he prefers diplomacy as a way to address the Iran issue. And as someone myself who's been involved in previous discussions on Iran, I think there is a path towards a diplomatic resolution of the impasse. But again, as you indicated, President Trump often teases that he has other means at his disposal. And in this case, unfortunately, that could potentially mean military action. But I do think the countries of the region are strongly encouraging him not to go down that path, Who knows what that might actually trigger in the region. And I think because there is the prospect of some kind of a resolution, certainly the discussions continue to be ongoing. I certainly hope that we will see the diplomatic path continue to be followed and that we won't see any kind of a move towards military confrontation or anything like that.
Indeed. I mean, it does seem as if, Trump's approach is the carrot and the stick. If we look back to just Tuesday in Geneva, it was very conciliatory. But there was another statement that Trump made where he said that you can't have peace in the Middle East if Iran has weapons. What do you make of that, especially considering the role of Israel in all of this?
Well, certainly for the U.S., I think for the region, in fact, the world community, the idea of Iran having a nuclear weapon is a non-starter. That is something the entire international community will join together to prevent. Of course, Iran says it's not pursuing a nuclear weapon, and so we just need to get some kind of a diplomatic agreement to lock that commitment in. But of course, Iran does have other means. One of the concerns in the region is its ballistic missile program. Certainly, Israel has expressed concern about that. The Gulf states have as well. We would like to see that program brought into the discussions. To this point, the Iranians are not willing to do so. So I think our priority remains the nuclear issue, certainly making sure Iran cannot pursue a nuclear weapon. But I think we also have other concerns about Iranian activities. So I think we will start with the nuclear issue, but hopefully if we can resolve that, we can move on to the other concerns we have about Iranian behavior.
Indeed. You can't have really peace in the Middle East with nuclear weapons. Fascinating to talk to you, Ambassador Richard Schmierer. Thank you for joining us.